industry did you decide to pursue a career?
I trade stocks. I've been trading for the last 7 years, and I own a few businesses in LA.
And how old are you?
I'm 23 currently.
23. What was the turning point like getting into this business? Did you always know you were going to kind of do your own thing and be an entrepreneur? Like how did that come about?
Honestly, the big push was the intern on Wall Street when I was 16. That's where it all started.
So you started out on Wall Street?
On Wall Street,
So
yeah.
you've kind of always been in finance then?
Correct, yeah.
So let me ask you this. It seems like you've been in trading the last 7 years. You started out in finance. A big debate in entrepreneurship is whether people should diversify or just focus on one thing. How important has that focus on one industry been for you throughout your career? Do you think people should diversify?
Honestly, something that you want to take seriously, you have to focus on it. After a couple of years where, I accumulated some money and my net worth, became greater, I started diversifying into real estate, bought a dispensary. I own, a rental company for cars now too. So yeah, I would say it is important, but I would say down the road when you become an expert at one thing.
Wow, I love that. And let me ask you this, as a day trader, what's been the most amount of money that you've ever made in one day?
One day as a day trader, $200,000.
$200,000.
Yeah.
What about for the whole year? What was the most amount of money that you've ever made in a single year?
From just trading, I would say around $4 or $5 million.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
As a 7-figure entrepreneur, what's been the best financial advice that you've ever received throughout your lifetime? If there's one lesson about money that a mentor or someone taught you throughout your career that always stuck with you, what's the best financial advice you ever received?
Don't chase money, attract it. And it sounds cliche, but it is true. If you go out there, you network, you put yourself in different spots and opportunities, yes, luck is a thing, but luck with opportunity becomes a big pro to your life.
Right. I love that. And I love how you brought up, you have to attract money. But what are those traits that you look for in someone that tells you that this person is attracted to money? In a sense of when you're starting a company, you're looking for business partners. What are those tell signs that someone is, they're attracted to money, and how can someone kind of incorporate that into their skill set?
To me, someone that goes above and beyond at everything that they do. For example, people who have a certain job to do. They don't just show up and leave when they need to. They're there, and then even when they're supposed to go home, they stay after and continue to do work.
Wow. And let me ask you this, you have a multi-million-dollar house here, you've generated millions of dollars throughout your career, but have you ever been broke before?
So when I was younger, I grew up on food stamps, but that was also when I was younger, I wasn't in a position to get a job. But by the time I was 14, 15, my parents were middle class.
Right. So let me ask you this then, because you hear the saying, the rich get richer, the poor get poor, but for somebody who may be stuck in that cycle of poverty, what are some actionable steps that they can take to really get, their life together and become financially free?
Honestly, stop procrastinating, right? You have a job. Yes, we all started at a job, but there is always time in a day to find a skill and become passionate about it and get better at it. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day.
Right. Now, what would you say is the biggest thing that separates the middle class from the wealthy? So in terms of how people, how they perceive and how they look at money, what is it that kind of prevents people from really growing out of that and building that generational wealth?
I would say middle class focuses using money to kind of continue living life, and then the wealthy use money to just grow more money. It's more of a digital thing for them, where they use it to build other projects that they're working on, and they just literally compound money over and over again.
Right. Now let me ask you this. So what would you say are the top 2 or 3 biggest habits that led to your success and enabled you to become a millionaire? If there's 2 or 3 habits that really led to your success, what would you say that those are? Honestly,
I'm super interested in just becoming a better person, whether that's thinking better, being better at everything. And I like to read books and really focus on videos that help me become a better person.
Right. Now, what would you say is your best self-improvement advice for people out there? So for somebody who maybe kind of lost, maybe they're addicted to some vices and they're lost, they don't really know where to go. What's your best self-improvement advice for someone who's trying to get their life on the right track?
Honestly, I would really sign a contract to yourself and focus for the next 60 days to cut all the negative habits in your life, all the negative people in your life, and really focus on being the best person you can be. And after they see the results in 60 days, they're going to want better for themselves for the rest of the year.
I love that. Now, as an entrepreneur, right, you're running multiple businesses. Any advice for someone about to start their first business in 2023?
Honestly, don't tell anybody that you're starting a business. Every time you bring up a business to someone's going to put you down. Go out, find out what's the worst that could happen. It could fail. People fail every single day.
Yeah. And for somebody who may be going through that adversity right now, an entrepreneur going through the storm right now, how were you able to overcome setbacks throughout your career? Maybe there was a time that you were kind of at like a low point as an entrepreneur, mine wasn't in the right place. How did you overcome those setbacks or challenges that you faced?
Honestly, every time I have a setback, I realize every other setback I've got past, right? And once you realize that a setback is just another obstacle in your life that you always get past in life, you realize that it just doesn't matter. You just have to come around, fix it, and just execute on it better.
I love it. Now, obviously, the industry that you're in is day trading. What's been your secret to creating wealth through investing? And any advice to someone who's starting out, like they want to really hit it while they're trading?
Honestly, just putting myself in opportunities to network with other people who are way better than me in different industries so that I can learn from them and possibly invest into what they do.
I love it. And how can someone make their money work for them in today's world?
Honestly, there are so many ways where you can actually make money without starting with any money. For example, logistics, connecting trucks to other companies, or even, real estate, being the middleman and going to houses. Yes, it's going to take a lot more work, but like I said, you're working with less resources, so it's going to take a lot more work.
Yeah. Now, how are you able to scale your income from 6 to 7 figures? And for maybe a business that they're hitting 6 figures, but they're trying to go from 100,000 to a million, right? What's the secret to being able to scale from 6 to 7 figures?
Honestly, you have to build your team. And I think without my team, I definitely wouldn't have built my net worth from 6 figures to 7 figures as far as business-wise, and thinking more of the bigger picture rather than what you think would work for your business yourself.
Right. Now, you brought up building that team. Like, how important has the skill of delegation been for you, right? Because a lot of people, they want to be that solopreneur, they want to wear all the hats and do everything on their own, but how important has it been being able to learn how to delegate certain tasks throughout your companies?
Honestly, it's super important because other people are more innovative in different spots that you are, and you want to focus on the bigger picture and allow other people to handle different positions in your company so that you can focus on how to expand it to a different level.
I love that. That was great. And the next one for you was kind of like, in 60 seconds, what is the blueprint to becoming a millionaire in today's world? So if you could give somebody, an 18-year-old kid watching this right now, the 60-second blueprint that you took, there's a couple sound bites that you could kind of leave them with, maybe some pieces of advice that you've been given that helped you along your way. What's the blueprint to becoming successful? And you can kind of be open-minded, like take this as in any way that you want.
Honestly, there's no secret to becoming a millionaire, and there's no exact way to become a millionaire. I listen to multiple people talk, and I just like listening to other people because I became a millionaire my way, and they became a millionaire their way. And there are thousands of other people who became millionaires, and they all did it in their own way. So just because I did it one way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. What I like to do is I like to look online, or this is back when I first started, I used to just look at other people and just get ideas from every single person and kind of put it together. There's just so many ways to make money now, and I would say just focus on really just educating yourself, whether that's reading books, seeing how other people have done it, and really understanding their lifestyle and what became a discipline of their life to get to that point.
I love that. Now, I'm gonna ask you just a few more, but like, what would you say is one lesson about business that you would teach somebody that they will not learn in school?
One lesson about business that they won't learn in school. It's never fair, and there's always an issue. If you think someone who's worth 100 million or 500 million isn't dealing with issues on a daily basis and not going through stress, you haven't seen nothing yet. If you think you're going through stress right now because you're not making that much, imagine the stress you're gonna go through when you get to that point.
I love that. Now, if you had to start from zero, right, your bank account hits zero tomorrow, and you had 1 year to make $1 million and your life depended on it, what would you do?
I'd probably get into sales.
Sales?
Yeah, maybe selling cars, that's been hot. I would find something in the sales industry, whether it's watches or cars.
Right. Now, how important do you think it is being able to sell yourself in business, right? Because people buy from people that they like ultimately. So like, how important has it been being able to build a personal brand like you have and being able to sell yourself in business beyond just like a product or service that people are selling?
Yeah, I mean, if you're just trying to sell something, you're never gonna get to that point. You have to sell something that someone needs and you're providing some sort of value to them. And they'll come to you and be like, hey, you've provided so much value to me, I feel like I owe you something. And that's why these biggest entrepreneurs you see online, they've provided value to their people before those people have paid for any of the products they've ever sold.
Right. Now let me ask you this, because the industry that you're in, a lot of people would say it's super risky.
Correct.
Right? You're investing, you're trading stocks, right? Things can go up and down very quickly. But what is your advice? Like how have you been able to deal with risk? And any advice to people that may kind of question that how risky like the industry that you're in actually is?
Crossing the street is a risk, right? What do you do when you cross the street? You look left and right. That's with any industry. You need to come in knowing the ins and outs, what can go wrong, how do you maneuver things from going completely wrong, starting at zero again? And it's important to know risk management. For example, my industry is super risky, but buying a house in 6 months and trying to sell it, you could lose money on that too. So is real estate risky? Everything's risky in life.
I love it. That was a great one. That was good.